Okay, so here we go. My video blog, part 2. And today's topic is going to be about Buddy Holly, the show that I went to see last night. Buddy Holly himself, and music in general, which, if you know me, you know that I tend to get on my soapbox about that. But we'll get to that in a minute. So, let's begin with the show that I saw last night. It was in Hamilton, and it was called the Buddy Holly Story Rock and Roll Musical. And let me tell you, it was absolutely amazing. I could not have asked to see anything better. It was amazing. It was. I thought it was gonna be just like a tribute show, like they would get up there and sing, and it would be like a concert of sorts. But this was actually a story, a full-out story of his life, chronicling when he started in the radio business or radio station in his town, when he became famous, of course, then when he died, along with Rippie and the Bopper, which they were also portrayed in the show last night too. It was actually pretty much like the Buddy Holly story, the movie starring Gary Busey, which is a very good film, by the way. So anyway, they started showing They started from when he was in the performing country in his radio station of his town, and then he wanted to play rock and roll, so he got a recording contract. He began playing rock and roll there, and then of course he became famous, and then he died. And it was just so good, and you could just see how Buddy was, and he was really funny. He was a funny guy, and he was just like such an awesome guy. And there was one part that I appreciated, and my sister and my family know I appreciated this to a T. He was in the recording studio, and his manager, or soon to be manager, Norman Petty, came down and he said, "Buddy, you got to take those glasses off when you perform, because rock stars don't wear glasses." And his friends behind him were like, "Oh my god, here we go." And Buddy's like, "Hey, listen, Buddy Holly wears glasses." And he's like, "But you can't wear glasses. Rock and roll stars do not wear glasses." He's like, "Hey, listen, Buddy Holly wears glasses, and that's it." And he even went after, he's like, maybe I should get them thicker so people could see the kind of statement I'm trying to make. And long story short, they let him keep his glasses on, which he kind of started the way for the rock and rollers to wear glasses. And well, here's my Buddy Holly glasses. So there you go. So back to the show. It was really good. I absolutely loved it, like I said. And at the end, how they kind of ended it off. They were in the surf ballroom. It's supposed to be the last place they performed. And they were performing. All three of them were on stage, Rippie, Buddy, and the Bopper. And then all of a sudden, everything went black. The music went out and kind of faded out. His voice started echoing and fading out, and then it was gone. And then all of a sudden, single spotlight on a guitar. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like crying. Done. As soon as I saw that. And an announcer came on the speakers, or like the guy who was playing the radio jockey, saying Buddy Holly, Rippie, but the Big Bopper and the pilot, Roger Peterson, died, and etc. And then he's like, "But the rest is rock and roll." And the lights went on, and they were all on stage, and they performed 2 more songs. It blew the house down. And when I say blew the house down, I flew out of my seat and did somersaults in the air. It was amazing. And I recommend you go see it. Definitely go see it. It's playing for 1 more week. It ends this coming Saturday in Hamilton at Theatre Aquarius. Check it out, because you'll be blown away. Even if you're not a particularly Buddy fan, just by the sheer amazingness of how they play the music and the story, you'll like it. So I suggest you check that out if you can. So now I'm gonna do a little short piece on Buddy Holly. I'm in a Buddy Holly mood now because of that show, so this is the perfect way to get it all out. And yeah, so Buddy Holly, I'm sure you can see over here the picture I have on my wall, on the Great Wall of Distinction. There's Buddy, Rippie, and the Bopper. And I love Buddy. I love his music. I think he was absolutely amazing. And what I find very mind-blowing is that he was famous for 18 months. His whole career lasted 18 months up until his death, and yet here we are 52 years later, remembering him. Some 20-year-olds got him on her wall and is praising him, and people still listen to his music, and he's still out there, and I think that's what important. That is what's important. So go, buddy. What I also find a little kind of weird, it's a weird feeling when you pass the age of your favorite rock stars, meaning that, for example, Ritchie Valens was 17 when he died. I'm 20, and it's so weird to say that I'm older than Ritchie Valens when he died, because you know what it's like to be that age, and to think two things: to think of all the success you had by that age is amazing, but then also to think of what it is to die at that age is just, it's heart pounding, mind blowing feeling, you know. And this year I'm gonna be 21. I'm gonna pass the age of Eddie Cochran. You can see him there. I'm gonna be 22 and pass the age of Buddy Holly, and so on and so forth. It seems, and it's really weird, kind of sad, but yeah. And before this goes on too long, let me do a tiny nutshell rant about what I feel about music. Basically, music of today, all that mainstream crap sucks. It blows. It's horrible. Why do people listen to it? And I'm not trying to put it down or anything, but it sucks. Okay, you know, it shouldn't be so easy as to go out there and say, hey, look, I'm a new up-and-coming rapper. I'm going to make an album. Tomorrow it's going to go platinum. I'm going to make a music video with some naked women on cars and, you know, be really famous. But then in a year, oh well, I'm gone. But on to the new fad. It shouldn't be that easy. What I saw on the show yesterday, and what I already knew, but what I saw right in front of me performed there, was the fact that back then you had to fight for your music. The parents and the adults thought that rock and roll was the devil's music, and those performers that we now know as the forefathers of rock and roll and the famous people of rock and roll had to fight just to get a record out. And Buddy had to fight just to get a rock and roll record out. And if you hear the songs now, you say, you know, what's the big deal? That's nothing. But back then it was, and they persevered and worked and got them out. And that's what it takes. And it also takes heart, soul, creativity, imagination. You have to pour that into all your material. And it has to mean something. Not that it's just some random shit off the street, excuse me. And that everybody likes because it's the new thing. And it's the new fad. And it's, you know, flashy. And the videos are flashy. And the music is flashy. It's not supposed to be that. Back then, performing, they stood there with a guitar, strummed and performed, and they were famous. They were amazing. Their music was amazing. And now the videos are so extravagant, it's like they're trying to distract people from seeing how awful the music actually is. You know? And I know some people don't agree with me, and I know some people do. So either way, you know. And also a little thing, but you know, I always say this, but last night made me kind of realize it again, is I wish I would have been born back then. And everybody, my family and friends, tell me, you know, you should have been born back then, because, you know, I feel like, and I feel I should have, I feel such a connection to like the 50s and the 60s. You know, I feel like I belong there more than I belong here, and I would have fit in perfectly. Just, you know, I feel that love of rock and roll and that urgency, and to have that music, and it's great. And I wish I could have been back then and lived back then, and you know, but I guess now, you know, I'm lucky to have the music I have, and just to listen to it now, and that's the way I gotta live, listening to it now. I mean, unless somebody has a DeLorean out there, I'm just gonna have to live in good old 2011 and listen to my rockin' 50s music. 60s music too. You know, it's weird because you feel kind of disjointed because you're not really a part of it because it happened such a long time ago, but at the same time you do feel a part of it, and I'm glad for that, you know. But I'm just glad, like I say, I always, you know, think this, it's a privilege to like this music, to like this old music, and I'm very appreciative that I like it, and I'm glad that I'm the way I am and that I like what I like, and yeah, that's it, you know. And I know some people agree with me out there, so I tip my hat to you. Do agree with me, and if you don't agree with me, oh well. Now, before I sign off, I just want to say, check out some Buddy Holly. Go on YouTube, type him in, check him out, because you'll be blown away. I have 2 songs for you to check out. One because I have it stuck in my head, one because I think it's his greatest song. Check out Rock Around with Ollie V. Great song. Check out That'll Be the Day. and I think you'll find that you like it. Just see the simplicity in Buddy Holly, but also the huge talent behind it, and just, you know, let a little Buddy into your life. That's it. Until next time, I hope you enjoyed this, and see you later. Go listen to some Buddy Holly, rock and roll, and peace out.